Many call him the future president. Many say the future is near. Some call him a heartthrob, a sex symbol even. But very few, or any, will address him as an athlete. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is one of the coolest, and I use the term young people in inverted commas because it depends on who you are, isn't it? Young people in South Africa, and one of the most influential in our country, our continent, and if he decided to, his voice could be heard anywhere in the world and it would matter. Duduzane Zuma is my guest. Yes, Duduzane Zuma is my guest on Sports Not Amplified with Andile, and we're going to be speaking about sports. I wonder, what sports do you think Duduzane partook in when he was younger? What sports do you think he's passionate about? I can tell you this, it's not a norm for young Zulu boys. I mean, I'm from Nkandla, and I can tell you now, I don't remember seeing people in and around KZN a lot doing what he loves and the sport that he got involved in. Uzonke Cele Elamonti was the only example I ever saw of this. People in Soweto, Mdantsane, they're huge in this. But not many other places in South Africa. We'll take a break. When we come back, he'll be in studio with me. He's my guest through the hour. It's Duduzane Zuma. I need to turn around for this. It's 14 after the R6 on the Mighty Metro FM. My guest today is a man who's always suave. He walked in here. I'm dressed in a suit, and all of a sudden I feel like I should have worn my slacks and my tracks. Huh, Dudu?
Not at all, my brother. You're always looking sharp, Chiefs. I'm just trying to keep up.
Are you well?
I'm good. How are you doing, sir?
You had a good thing happening today, and a big one, and we're going to get into that. I can't wait for it. But I wanted to start perhaps with, and I mentioned it to touch a little bit earlier, and coming here as well, as we're planning and we're telling, hey, this is what we're doing. People said, Duduzane and sport. Have you been a sporty person your entire life? Have you into sport?
I am a big fan of multiple sports, and I've always been encouraged to play as many sports as one can. Just so when you're invited to do things, you don't feel left out and be that guy sitting on the sidelines not participating.
It's your favorite show of the week, Throwback Thursday on Sports Not Amplified with Andile on the Mighty Metro FM. We pick specific moments in history and we tell stories. That's what we do. Last week we told you the story of Goldfinger Chakwane and how he came to be at Mamelodi Sundowns. The week before that was what could have started as a painful story of a 12-year-old who loses his limbs and in a tragic accident with a train, but goes on to be a champion and is looking forward now to being a world champion. What story are we telling today? Well, we're telling a story of a man who I hear to nearly went pro in boxing.
Who?
Did you ever box?
No. Look, I've trained. I enjoy training. Like I said, I've been a fan.
So you train boxing?
Yeah, boxing, a little bit of MMA.
MMA?
Yeah, and you can see there's a man in the studio here. He's one of my coaches. He's coached me for some time. Don't look at that man like that. Yo, he'll hurt you, man.
I'm not
That's
convinced.
Winston in the background.
Winston, I'm not convinced. I must be honest. So tell me about that. Your love for boxing and why you train that way. What do you remember from growing up? What was your first memory of boxing?
It's what we saw on TV. I think it's something that besides at that time, sporting wise, football that was on TV, WWF at the time, from a sports entertainment perspective. There was boxing, and then from the combat sporting world, I think as children, most times the movies that we were drawn to were kung fu movies. So, that whole culture of combat and martial arts. I mean, at some point we all were put into karate classes and that sort of stuff. So it just stuck. I enjoyed the discipline, I enjoyed the training regimen, and I enjoyed just being able to look after myself and others.
We tell stories, and one of the stories that we told, which is an incredible one, that many South Africans of a certain age had never heard because, obviously, of the time lapse in the history. But Ncube came on to tell us about, the most epic fights that he was involved in. I think it was Tony Lopez, the Tiger Lopez, who had come to South Africa, and he had gone over to the US to fight him, and he told us about that. And if I remember it, my first memories of boxing in South Africa are intertwined with Ncubela's life.
100%.
What about you? What when you think of boxing, who is it, South African or maybe even internationally? I mean, Floyd Mayweather is now, but when we were younger, who was your biggest influence?
No, at that time, I think it would have been South African-wise, definitely the likes of the Tingantobelas, the Vuyani Bungus, the Baby Jake Matlalas. Internationally, of course, Iron Mike.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's no there's no ignoring that. I think he's captured the hearts of everybody for a long time up until now. But yeah, those are the names that really drew me to boxing at that time. Yeah.
And
The Marvin Haglers.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh geez, you're
That's
taking
right.
it back.
We're taking it back. That was when there were beasts. Different time in boxing. That was a real time, I think.
And within your home, was there a sporting background?
Yeah, definitely. My old man boxed as well.
Because I would have thought he, was a stick fighter.
Stick
more than
fighter,
anything.
he did the stick fighting thing, but his younger brother, we called him Bub G, late Bub G. He was a professional boxer.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a professional boxer. So there was some of that energy in our household. I've got cousins that have boxed, some of them still boxing. So it's been in and around,
Yeah, we're speaking sport with Duduzane Zuma. Thought you never knew, but I mean, of course, for a man with the ambitions that Duduzane Zuma has, and he's shared those wildly and widely everywhere where he's gone, it is imperative and important that he is a man that dips into all sorts of social, entertainment-wise, sport-wise, political-wise as well, and every other-wise. Because at the end of the day, this is a man that says, "Hey, South Africa, recognize me. I do know this country and its people, and I want to be able to in every facet of life." And I wonder how much of what you're doing now, how much of you, and we didn't know this about you in sport. A lot of people didn't know it. So when today's launch happened and they said, "Hey, Duduzane is doing this," many said, what is that about? Is this yet another ploy to get people to fall behind him when voting does need to come, when the political thing comes in? Dudu needs our vote, and he's reaching out to a corner of South Africa.
No, I think definitely not a ploy. I'm an entrepreneur. That's what I've done for the better part of my adult life. Up until now, I've been a businessman, and what people need to understand is, I find new ways, new opportunities. I mean, this is what we do. This is the field we're in, and the time is now for this. I think there's an opportunity not just in South Africa but globally to get involved in the sports entertainment and the combat sports world. And this is what this is about. And people just like making up stories. What does this have to do with politics? We spending our time, we're spending our money, we're creating opportunities for others, because that's who we are. We believe in value creation, and wherever we go, we speak about creating value. I think a lot of people don't know how to, and we're just trying to be those people that will say, you know what, at the drop of a hat, we're able to do this. And I think that's an example today of what we've done.
I mean, I stay away from sports where I could get scarred or injured, or my face could get a blue, or my face could get a bit of a blue eye. You don't? Come on.
No, we've all been in scraps in our lives, younger, older, recently, whatever it is. And the main thing about it is, I'm no tough guy. Never professed to be one. I'm not saying that today, but I enjoy what the training does. I enjoy the training methods, and at some point, I urge everyone needs to know how to protect themselves in one way or another, even if it's simple. And I think that's what it's about in most cases. So besides the sport as an opportunity and as an avenue to create awareness or opportunities for others, it's also about teaching people discipline and just self-confidence.
I want to know about the first time he puts a pair of gloves on. Sure. I want to know the feeling about that as well. I want to know all there is to know about Duduzane and the love of sport, but also what you've got going on right now. UFC has become big all around the world, whereas before that market was just the WWE. WWF as was known before that even, and we all got into that, but it never quite took off in South Africa. This has been able to capture the minds and take off a little bit more. Let's take a break. When we come back, why is Duduzane here? What's a big thing that got him all dressed up in a presidential suit for? The first time you stepped into a ring, put some gloves on. Do you remember it?
Yeah, I do.
Tell me about it.
We've all done the non-serious stuff on the outside at home with friends. But the first time,
well, not we all. I've never been in a fight. Have to protect the goods.
We all have. We all have at some point. If not, it'll happen. But just we all need to be prepared. But the first time I remember going into a combat environment ring was actually Muay Thai. It was in Cape Town, a gym called Dragon Power. The Chong brothers, Quinton and Winston. That's when I first took this a bit more seriously.
How old are you at that time?
I was early 20s.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And did you ever think of, this is actually something I could have done?
I was 20 actually.
Because if you're still 20, there's still time.
No, definitely not. There's two things. One, my old man, a few rules that he gave me. One of them was to follow in life. One of them was not to fight professionally for whatever reason. I think from his younger brother's experiences. But from my side, I respect what the guys do in the ring, and it's not my world. I'm not here acting like, I'm this gift to boxing.
I don't know the story of your uncle and boxing.
Yeah.
I mean, if your dad is going to say, if that gives him some sort of PTSD to say, I don't want my son to get involved in that, what's the story of his brother?
I think just supporting him, going to fights, and, he had his wins, he had his losses. But I think just as, in my view, that just as an older brother, I think just seeing his dude getting getting handled at some points, and even if he wins, but I mean, guys take punishment in the ring, even if they get the W. And I think he was just like, I can't see my young bucks going through this. So I think that's what, I don't know why he told me specifically, because at the time he told me, I had no interest from a training perspective. I had an interest from being a fan and a viewer of boxing and other sports, but not to step into a ring, and that still stands. I'm a fan of it, and I enjoy it. I've trained in multiple gyms all over the world. I've had the pleasure of sparring with some of the best that have existed in our country, at least, and overseas as well. And it's great just to understand how this thing really works and how much work people put into it, and why the successful guys are successful.
It's going to make so many people make sense of. I remember a video or two of interactions between you and your dad, and it would always start off in a friendly banter of almost shadow sparring.
Yeah.
Where he's going at you and you going at him in a boxing stance. And I've often wondered, why that, not a high five, but then this is the background to it. Then clearly is that in the family, there was a boxer. You quite enjoy leisure boxing and not in a professional way. So it makes so much sense.
No, it does. And from his side, and I mean, he's always had a fighting spirit. Even if it's not physically, just his mind frame, his attitude. He's always had his hands up protecting himself till this day. I mean, yesterday he was doing the same thing in court. So I think it's a metaphor for life as well, if you look at it that way. And I always say this. He's always said to us that the day that he passes on, touch wood, it ain't anytime soon. He says, bury me with my shield and my spear, because where I'm going to. Wow. I know this cat's waiting, Chief, and I'm going to carry this fight. So make sure when that lid closes, I've got my tools.
So I must be ready when I get there. You mentioned, and I did, when I looked it up, I was quite shocked at some of the people that you've encountered in boxing in your training, and you mentioned it just now. Talk to me about some of those names. Who have you gone up against? Yeah, it wasn't in a ring in a professional setup, but nonetheless, it's as intense.
I'll leave the street legends out. Some of them exist in Johannesburg and across all races, because there's some tough mofos out there. Yeah. But Winston's in the studio. He's taught me a lot. He's actually he used to be quite a talking about professionally and amateur. Very, very good boxer. He's obviously not in that space anymore, but he can handle himself. I've trained in Nick Durrant's gym, the late Nick Durrant, and Damian, his son now. There's a host of guys that have shown me the ropes, quite literally and figuratively. I've trained in Colin Nathan's gym, Hotbox. That's where I spent a lot of time as well, here in Johannesburg. Down in Durban, the guys at Shuriken, Ryan and the guys at GBH, Gorgeous Boys, trained with some of the guys there. In Dubai, Round 10, there's a gym that a lot of the guys train at. It's the Ahmed Siddiqui. I mean, he's quite renowned in that space. He owns that gym, so I've rubbed shoulders with some global talents there from out there. And the art of boxing and sparring is just getting yourself to a point where you feel equipped. It's not about hurting each other; it's about learning the game.
But what's the worst you've been hurt? What's the worst you've looked in the mirror and not recognized yourself?
No. It hasn't been that bad. I've had.
Are they being easy on you because you have to do something?
I felt like Ryan Garcia. I've had my ribs tested by a good friend of mine, Jared. You're listening. I still owe you one. But proper, fractured ribs. Because there's times where guys get excited in the ring, and it's work, but it's all in the spirit of fun.
I made some calls, and I've got somebody on the line now who wants to come on, and because I don't believe you. To be honest, I don't believe Duduzane Zuma can fight, guys. I don't believe that he can put a pair of gloves on and then square up.
Bare knuckle, whatever it is, we're good to go. I got some good kicks.
Bare knuckle?
Come on, man.
No, I've got somebody. I need to fact check this.
All right. Like I said,
I need to fact check.
I'm not professing to be the toughest guy, but You're not just going to walk all over me.
Can I fact check this?
Go for it.
You know this voice. You know this man. South Africa knows him. Colin Nathan joins me now on the line. Colin.
No maganja.
No, I have to disagree with Dudu. He is tough. He is tough. He can.
Oh, come on, Colin.
It's not just a quick lift. It's also just very quick fists.
Are you serious?
Yeah, no, he can go.
Talk to them,
I mean,
Colin.
put it this way. I would back him in any fight.
What?
Within reason. No, but seriously, no, he can go.
I mean, to be honest, there's a couple of girls who've said, "Hey, Andile, I like you, but Dudu's better looking." That I wanted to take him.
Nah.
No,
So I shouldn't.
Not that I'm stubborn, but let me just tell you this.
Not that you're stubborn.
Not that I'm stubborn either. He technically he can box. He can fight. So yeah.
So interesting story.
Sorry. The other thing is that the one thing I'm not going to do is lie on a national broadcaster. So no, the guy can go. He can fight.
Did you say?
And just to put into perspective, I mean, a gym that I spent a lot of time in Johannesburg was at Colin Nathan's gym, Hotbox.
Yeah.
A lot of fundamentals there. Had some great coach. He still does. But at the time, there were some great guys from KZN, from Alex. There's some great wars that happen in his gym, and I came across great fighters. Some of them are still active. I mean, the likes of Hickey Butler, the Jared Lovitz, who they're no longer fighting, but were great talents. Lee Dye is still fighting. Plenty. I mean, that's where Isaac Chilembe started off. That's where I met him at the gym.
And to perhaps not back myself a little bit here, the names that are coming off what Dudu's saying are not names that you don't know unless you're into this, unless you're really in this. You know what I mean? It's not somebody that, is on the cover of every magazine that everybody knows. It's not a Dingano of the time, a Jan Bergman of the time. These are people that are in the streets that only, some people that are into boxing know. Colin, when you look at Dudu's talent, I mean, you started training with him and you met him, I can imagine, a little bit later in life. But had he fundamentally at the beginning, maybe teen years and early 20s, took it on, do you think he could have been perhaps?
The thing is, Dudu and I met in 2007 at the Hotbox gym, and we struck up a great friendship, and we've been very close ever since. So,
Colin's my brother, by the way.
Yeah. Thanks, D. Yeah. So to answer your question, technically, I think he could have got in the ring and mixed it up, had probably a good success as an amateur. Whether he would have crossed over to become a good professional, I don't know. But fundamentally, in his skill sets, I think he would have done really well as an amateur. And then obviously every amateur who engages in boxing wants to cross over to become a champion to be either champion of the world, put money in the bank. So the chances of him being a successful fighter or boxer back then probably was really, really good.
He's got something going on, and I'm pretty sure you know all about it. I mean, he launched it today. He's going to tell us about it in just a few. But what would you like to say to him, and what do you think of what he's put together alongside with Winston?
Look, I knew Dudu would always be involved in boxing in some degree or somehow. I think he's an asset to any person who aspires to achieve in this country. I think the fact that he's obviously investing in boxing, he's always had a strong passion and love for the sport, and that's just great. And I think it's great for the future. And I'm hoping that it goes well beyond the realm of a gym.
We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming through, Colin.
Thank you.
Well, at least you've got a safety call. You know who to call. You know who to call when people don't believe you.
No.
Video call Colin Nathan and put him out there. Was really nice to have him.
Thank you.
It was very nice to have him out there. We had to do our research a little bit and find out where you fight when you in Joburg, and Colin's name came up. Boxing in South Africa. UFC might have taken off a little bit. It's not quite where we want it to be as it is around the world, but boxing in South Africa has taken a dip. We spoke about the glory days. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. to watch a Baby Jake Matala, to watch a Vuyani Bungu, a Jan Bergman at some point, a Ncube. I'd wake up and my mom would wake us up and we'd all sit up and, would put some corns in a pan and bribe some popcorn.
Sports Arena.
You know what I mean? Sports Arena, SABC Sport. It's fallen off since then. Why do you think, and I can imagine you did a business analysis of this, why do you think it's fallen off? We've seen Casper Nyovest and what he's done, and he did very well in bringing it up to par with the generation that is coming up now. But what do you think has been the issue?
Management, mismanagement. The lack of proper management is like many things that are wrong in our country right now. Is the only issue. I think there are people that are in it for the wrong reasons. There are people that are in it that don't understand what the fight game is about. They don't understand the surroundings, and more importantly, they've got favorites. This is not a game about favorites. It's about giving everyone equal opportunities, looking after the fighters, because the fighters are the assets. And you'll find over a period of time, the fighters have been disrespected. They've been mishandled, and I think that's what's that's led to the cause of the demise of boxing. And no support from the government structures. So you look at everything from the Ministry of Sports to Boxing South Africa as a body. They just haven't managed to switch it up. The game has changed. The fight game has changed. Like many other things, we're not changing with the times. And I think this is what's exciting about the time we're in, and we can see it starting to happen in different parts of the world. And we don't want to fall behind the curve, and that's why we're getting involved. So I urge the administrators that are out there to step their game up. This is not the time to play games. It's not the time to nitpick. We've got beautiful talents in our country, on the continent. We need to nurse these talents. We need to invest in these talents. We need to give them platforms to showcase their talents. And the time for talking is done. Let's work. There's a lot of us that can coexist. There's enough opportunities and enough revenue on the table for everyone to live. Let's not be greedy, and let's just get this job done.
As you say that, the Casper Nyovest then comes up to say, yes, there's plenty for everybody to go on. I'm pretty sure you're aware of that and the fights that he's put up, and the kind of numbers that they've been able to gain, be it viewership numbers, sponsorship numbers, and what he's been able to do. How far from that is what you're trying to do? And do you have a comment on and once again, you and Winston, you're astute businessmen, you would have had to study the lay of the land.
Sure.
And that would have been a great, lack of a better word, lab mice to say, hey, we've seen it happen here. We saw the test there.
Ncube, I think if you look at what has been done, I mean, to the celebrity boxing thing that happened, I think it was a glimpse into the possibilities of celebrity/influencer boxing. It was interesting. It was the first time it was done at that scale, and I tuned in. We're all intrigued. We're all interested in seeing how this thing would go. We all have our views on how to do it. I commend Casper and his team. I commend the recent one that Big Zulu and them did. Yeah, but I'm just saying, that's
come on,
respect to the guys. It's not an easy thing to do. The guy stepped up, but I think where we're at, and just the them being the so-called guinea pigs. If you look at why a lot of South African promoters, except the ones that have come from a very long time, you look at the likes of Golden Gloves, Rodney Berman, and then they've had a good
Durrant,
the guys have. There's very few that have done it at that level and have done it well. But times have changed. If you look at where we're at, and you're looking at the lay of the land, you look at the different promotional companies that have come up. You cannot just put up events for the sake of putting up events. So it can't just be an event and then you wait another 3-4 months and put up another event. There's got to be activity in between. And I think where we realize there's an opportunity in the market is we're not playing in the space of just purely South African influencer boxing. What we've launched it's a global platform. And that's why we've tied up with a global partner to close that space between the Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, bringing in South America, these are as boxing territories, getting new viewership, new interest, streaming up, and just also getting people to not just have to travel to the likes of Abu Dhabi, to the likes of London, to the likes of Saudi, as we're seeing, which great things happening there. What's happening in Africa? It can't just be something that's segmented to us, for us. We want to bring the rest of the world here to say, guys, we've also got talents. We've also got people that are willing to put their money where their mouths are. We've also got people that are able to run these events in South Africa for the global market. And this is what this is about. So, we tied up with, I tied up with the global UFC, ex-UFC now, as of recently, superstar, Darren the Gorilla Till. He's from Liverpool. And, he brings a whole wealth of experience. I mean, he's trained all over the world. He's on his way. He's traveling back today, actually. So we had a joint press conference to announce this. And he's traveled all the way here because he also understands the opportunity that brings. This is the African territory. There's a global market. And once again, I have to stress, boxing and sports entertainment. I think the key word is sports entertainment. What we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and what we're going to bring online. Just besides celebrity boxing is going to be very interesting for not just for the South African market, but for the global market.
I want more details now. I want the name. I want what it is and how it's going to work and how do people get involved and, on both, wanting to participate, but also those that are like myself, just viewers. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, it's all the details as to the conversations that we've had. You've had the background now. Duduzane Zuma. Hey, girls, not just a pretty face. He'll mess you up too if you're a guy stepping up.
Come on.
Hey,
come on.
Having big conversations with big people. Nick Durrant, I mean, you mentioned Golden Gloves, with Mr. Berman. You mentioned Nick Durrant as well. He still is one of the cornerstones of all things boxing. And
yes, sir.
He was great at the craft, but also he was great at promoting it. He was also great at marketing it, et cetera, the legend. I know you know his son well.
Yes, Damian.
Yeah. What's the relationship there?
Very good. That's Damian's my brother. I spent a lot of time with the Durrant family. We used to actually ride a lot on most weekends. We used to ride on-road bikes. So we developed a very, very good relationship.
And was that relationship, at the start of it, at the beginning, was it around boxing? Was it around the interest in boxing, or did it come out and then it just so happens that he wasn't something you enjoyed?
I think it just organically grew. I mean, I was training at his gym. His gym was in Nord at the time before they moved to...
Oh, yeah, I remember that gym, yeah.
And it was just shared common values.
And how much of what his father did are you trying to emulate now? Because it's also a show, isn't it? I mean, King was the same in America.
Yes, correct.
You know what I mean? You got to put on the show as well. Are you a showman? Are you able to do that, to entice, to, have the challenge of exciting people? Do you think you're able to pull that off?
Well, I am now.
I've got somebody that wants to say hi, and I hope you'll indulge me a little bit here. Cool. Caller, hi, please say hi to Tutu.
DZ.
Yes, sir. Double D, the damage. Damian, what's going on?
It's true. Do you want a third pro? Am I going to manage and train you, boss?
No, of course, Chief. We're coming long, Chief. But I'm just waiting for the paycheck to let me know. Let's talk the numbers.
100%.
How are you doing, my brother?
I can hear your voice, brother. I'm good, and you?
Good.
Damian Durrant now joining us, of course, son of legendary boxing promoter Nick Durrant. Damian, your friend is here, and we've spoken about him and his love for boxing and what he can do in the ring. But I mean, of course, you grew up in and around a family that doesn't manage only what's in the ring, but outside of it as well. Tell me about the world of boxing now, as it stands now, with you at the helm of it. How much more difficult is it? How much easier is it? Is it still what it was back in the day when your father ran things?
So, look, the pro side of the game has changed. We've seen a lot of celebrities come into the sport. It's been good for the sport. I think it brings a nice new viewership to the game. But I do believe South Africa still holds some amazing professional fighters. And I believe we are still one of the strongest countries when it comes to boxing. I think the only problem is we lack the promotional side and the media side. And I think that's where celebrity boxing has got a good influence for the sports within this country, because it'll bring viewers to the sport.
Because I wondered for a long time as to, do professional boxers feel some type of way when the undercard to celebrities who come on? Casper's the main draw. He's the main card, and professionals are the ones that are the undercard. They're the ones that do the opening. Is there some sort of animosity there? Or are you thinking, hey, it's all great, we need this and we need all the spotlight that can be put onto boxing?
I think we need all the spotlight we can put onto boxing. It's not the same as what it was before. And I think we also need to understand that sports changes and media has changed the game a lot. And we need viewers and we need the celebrities in the sport, because I do believe they bring the views and the sponsorship to the sport, and it gives these great fighters opportunities to be seen. So it does definitely have its place.
Where do you draw the line of professional boxers and celebrity boxers? Because I can imagine if I'm a professional boxer, I mean, I train my whole life. This is what I do. and I'm going to be the undercard, DZ, and I'm going to be, the guy that is opening. I'm going to be watching people that aren't boxers take the spotlight and do their thing there. Is this something that's in consideration at all?
Look, at the end of the day, money talks. These are prize fighters, and prize fighters look for opportunities, they look for exposure, and they look for a paycheck. And most importantly, as long as people are on the card, and especially on the main card, what I've seen from, and as Damian alluded to, is absolutely correct, the fight game has changed. You will note that there's been a decline in boxing viewership globally, with the rise of mixed martial arts. We've seen what the UFC has done and the numbers that they've pulled, not just from streaming and viewership, but just from new fight fans and just wondering what the sport is and then bringing attention to it. I think most boxers these days, are hungry for opportunities, and as long as they can get a card to fight on, get fair pay, if not good pay, they're in. I don't think they take it personally in most cases, because I think they also understand that it's a different time. If you look at what social media has done, and the algorithms that have created superstars in different domains. Now, even in the fight game, even though they may not be as technically sound as professionals, it's switched it up, and I think they understand that. They understand that, and I don't think they have a problem with that.
Damian, before I let you go, your boy's doing something big. I mean, he's launched this, and he needs the backing of everybody that is in the industry already. What would you like to say to him?
Go with it full-hearted. He's always had a love for the sport, and he must go with it. And we're happy to have him in our space. He's always been in our space, and obviously he wants to occupy a bigger space. We're all there for him. A lot of the boxing people love to see him at events. They love his enthusiasm for the sport, so we're there for him.
And Damien, whilst you're still on the line, the sparring wars we used to have at the gym, Chief, people think this is a joke, Chief.
No, it's legitimate.
Yeah.
But no, he told me you'd go a little bit easy on him.
No. The man can hold his own. Don't let anyone.
Damien, because it's one of two things. It's one of two things. It's either you went easy on him, or I'm judging your skills. So which is it?
No. The man can handle his own. Let's keep it like that. The man can handle his own. He was in professional environments all the time, around professionals, and he followed the sport like a professional. The man can handle his own.
Dudu, you got some good friends. Damian, appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Double D, the damager.
He's out of here. Let's take a break. It's 6:53. Dudu, we've stretched it now. What do you call it? What is it? If I'm to put a finger on it, if I want to get involved in it, if I want to just get involved from a watching it point of view, what is it? How does it work? What do you call it? What is the hashtag that's going with it that's going to be, streaming all over the world, where people say when they see it, they say, hey, this is it.
The hashtag would be Gorilla FC HQ. And the reason why it's called Gorilla is my partner in this venture, his name is Darren the Gorilla Till. So I think it was fitting to have it as a name, as the logo, as the theme, as the general look and feel of what it is that we're doing. Paying homage to him, and it's a platform that will integrate different sporting codes within the combat sports space, for sports entertainment, celebrity boxing, not just in South Africa but globally. We'd like to see some of our celebrities here in South Africa facing some of the celebrities out in the broader world, in the UAE, in the UK, in the US. There's some big things happening there, and we're looking to collaborate with some of these wonderful platforms that exist elsewhere. And what we're saying is, you're not going to leave us behind. Africa, you're not leaving us behind. We're here, and we mean business.
Do you have any names yet? Have you spoken to anybody? Is there anybody that we should look out for to say they could be a part of this?
As potential fighters, there'll be some announcements that will be made over the next few weeks. Our first event, I think people will be in for a beautiful surprise. There are some names, there are some big names, and I think the global boxing arena will be quite shocked at what's coming.
South African celebrities, you mean?
International. We're international, G.
But no, what I'm saying is here, do we have some people from us who are going to be representing us?
Of course, they have to be.
Okay.
They have to be. I mean, this is, I'll
put up Sivan Gessi. He's one that I would put up from a South African contingent point of view. He's quite a boxer.
Yeah, there are plenty people out there, and once again, it would be beautiful to see our people from here facing for other celebrities. But
But
definitely local. And besides that, there's going to be a lot of development around it. So getting into the gyms, equipping gyms, getting famous celebrities, current sports stars, boxers that exist in their zones into our space, interacting with our athletes, our gyms, getting exchange of technical skills, and just bringing boxing back to South Africa because it needs a jolt.
I'll save you a call. Don't call me. Don't call Dr. Musa Mtombeni. Who else is there? I'll save you a couple of calls. Is it just men, or are we going to see some women as well?
No, there'll be women as well. There'll definitely be females. I think there's there's a huge interest, and you know the level of technical prowess that has evolved over the last 10 years in the female combat sport is. I wouldn't step into the ring with some of these females.
If you'll indulge me, I've got Sasa Yende, who's she called halfway through the phone, through the show, and been holding onto the line since. So we've got to go to Durban. Sasa.
Hey, Andile, how are you?
I'm very well. Talk to me. Are you going to be getting into the ring?
No, yo. No, so this is actually what I want to say. I'm quite happy with the launch of the Gorilla Fight Club, and congratulations go to Duduzane and Durrant. And two, when it comes to supporting Duduzane in a boxing match, I definitely support him.
Over me?
Yes, over you.
Why?
Even me.
Why, Sasa?
Well, firstly,
look at you having a good time, aren't you? Why?
Besides the fact that it's a physical sport, right? I also believe that it's a sport that requires one to apply the mind and strategy. So I've actually seen how he calculates literally every move, whether it's soccer, pool, whatever.
So you basically you're saying whatever he does, he'll be successful.
Yes.
You just hate me. Sasa, I'm blocking your number from Metro FM.
Never ever set him up for failure, so it's definitely over you, Andy.
You're never getting through to the Metro FM lines again. Goodbye. Sasa in Durban. Very last one. Ferdinand is out in Woodbank. You're the last one I got to take, Ferdinand. Thank you so much for calling us. Talk to me.
Hi, guys. How are you doing?
Always
Right,
good.
Ferdinand.
Good. I just wanted to ask Duduzane, does he believe in knockouts or does he have his own knockout? And I just want to comment on the game for Manchester City and Real Madrid.
Very quickly, go for it.
I just wanted to ask, where's the black magic from Yaya Toure to stop Pep Guardiola?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I don't. Maybe you're more into boxing than I am. I don't understand that first question. Maybe you do.
I think what I understood from Mr. Ferdinand is, well, the question that he asked is, am I more into knockouts or...
you want to see a skilled fighter go through the rounds? Maybe?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's what he...
But doesn't everybody want to see a knockout?
No, not every. Some people want to see people getting punished.
Really?
Yeah. Like, no, I'm not.
That's
I'm not
cruel.
I don't want to knock you out. I want to take you to the deep waters. I want to hurt you. When you leave here, people shouldn't recognize you. Some people enjoy that. Sadistic.
Where do I go to find more information? What are you guys? Have you set up your Instagrams, your Twitters?
So there's...
whoever knows can come around. Whoever knows can come around.
Handles it, but I mean, there's the information is out there, and we'll get it out.
You'll get it out. Okay, cool, guys. Please do get it out.
We launched. We announced it today. There's a press release that's gone out, and the press release has got all the information.
Cool. I'll share that information with you tomorrow as well as I get it to do. Please be on your way. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you
I
popping
appreciate
in.
it on short notice, and it was fun being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I mean, literally, we made the call 2 hours while the man was still busy with the press conference to have him here, and he indulged us and came through.
Who can say no to you, my
appreciate
brother?
Listen,
Come on, G.
you want me to give you the list? They all said no. They're like, nah, we know you. We're out of here. It's almost top of the hour. Faith comes in. Winston, I appreciate it. And I know you at most times look like his bodyguard always be behind, but we know that there are places where you are in front and doing amazingly. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. Duduzane Zuma, as well as Winston, coming into the building, of course, to give us this great news. The biggest sports show anywhere in Southern Africa is right here on Metro FM, and it's Sports Night Amplified with Andile. I am Andile Ncube. I don't do it alone. I've got an amazing team. Malcolm, Timmy, Biso, Tabonkwala, the genius. They helped me put it together. And today, they did a stellar job to get all the guests that they did and get to Duduzane in studio at the time that he was here at such short notice. Thank you for choosing us every day. Pela pela. That's all me.